Or two. Right now, you had mentioned about new business because it's always there. We just never put anything in. Last
Oh, I know,
we
but
had
it should be
something too.
before.
It should be okay. So let's want to start community presentation.
Yes.
All right, absolutely. So, Mr. McGregor, you're here.
Thank you. Yes, I am.
Yes. So why don't you tell us about what you're planning to do and
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you folks for having me. Apologize to anyone who heard my before.
Okay.
But
Retention is good.
no. I am here because I want to bring to Harlem something I do not have. General independent. I'm not a long-time publishing professional. I've worked in publishing for years. First as on the publishing side, and then for most of that time working at literary. Helped writers find publishers, helped them develop their projects, and helped them get published. I did that most of my time publishing. Here are books that. 1 second.
And so while you're doing that, it's a question for you. So you mentioned you wanted to start an independent bookstore. What do you mean? Do we have bookstores in Harlem?
Which one are you approach?
Oh, there's Word Up.
Operation Bookstore, Word Up.
Sisters Uptown. And then on Lenox Avenue, there's okay. So
well, those are Word Up is technically in Washington Heights. Because Uptown is also in Washington Heights. He talks about being part of the Washington Heights.
Yeah, technically 155th and up in Washington Heights. Well, she even mentioned it.
And he talked about it on the website about being part of Washington Heights. So technically in Harlem proper, we have Grandma's Place, which is a toy store with some books, and you have Liberation
and Schomburg
and
the proper bookstore. Well, the proper
it's a
the bookstore. Their gift shop is full. I mean, full of books. So I'm not taking away from you. I'm just mentioning.
Well, my thing is a general interest bookstore, which will cover a wide range of not just books, that organization. And just here are some of the books that I worked on when I was literary. This first novel I carried. She basically the plot is the protagonist sleeps underneath a quilt made by sisters in slavery. And after sleeping underneath the quilt, she starts to get visions, starts to stigmata like wounds, but instead of the wound of Christ, they represent wounds, lashes on the back, wrists from that, and goes on the ankle. And so the quest is to decide, does she have an all too real connection to the past, or is she crazy?
Yeah.
So it deals with mental illness. Wasn't a subject that like it's innovative in that respect. This is the first novel by Danny Simmons, gentleman who did the Def Poetry Jam. Well, this is another novel by Phyllis Alicia Perry. It's a prequel to Stigmata. That, and this is the book I'm most proud of, I should say, a biography of Zora Neale Hurston. The definitive biography, I had the idea, found Valerie, right? So these are just some of the books that I've. Oh, thank you. Oh no, that's just a book. That's not part of it. So that's just some of the books that I've worked on, and I want to bring that to Harlem, a place where people can come, exchange ideas, meet other readers, go to an event, meet authors. So it's going to have a wide range of programming, author events. It's going to have panel discussions, meetings. I want to work with Columbia and City College to develop programming.
City College?
Develop programming for it.
How about coffee and pastry?
I'm still thinking about that. I'm still
Absolutely, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that. And my thought around that is there are a lot of things involved. So what makes this coffee so great that want to come here? So it's still on the, I'm still thinking.
Yeah, bookstore cafe goes in. I mean, where are you in the process of this? Have you just right now in writing for investors?
Well, right now, in the very, very early beginning. Part of this process, or part of this was just sort of go around and meeting stakeholders, people in the community, to first introduce myself and say who I am and what I'm doing and get your ideas, questions, feedback, thought. Because my Sherpa, Curtis Archer, said this is sort of my listening tour.
Yeah.
This is considered like my listen.
Okay, Curtis is okay.
Oh, Curtis is a smart guy.
So, yeah.
I'm doing the listening tour. That's number one. Two, I'm also folks over at I empty right now. We haven't reached anything yet, so my eyes open for other possible places. And also, I'm looking for investors. Right now, looking for a development board to help take it to the next level. In terms of investors later on down the line, I'm also looking for those, but I have some avenues, bigger investment, higher, secure. I have some ideas, but obviously, those are the three things I'm here. I want to get this conversation started early rather than down and sort of say, hey, I'm here. But I wanted to meet folks yourself and sort of say, hey, here I am. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas, feedback, questions, whatever?
Did you go to Arts and Culture Committee?
Yes, I did. That was the first one I went to.
Okay.
Daria sent out an email and introduced me to the folks.
Victor met you as well. I'll share.
I met Victor as well too through Daria
at
Manhattan Borough Presidents to the borough.
Landmarks and is it
land use. Housing, yeah. H was.
But I've gone to several companies with the arts and culture and with the senior issues. Yeah. So that's basically my
congratulations on just trying to. Well, first of all, congratulations on your work. Well, work is incredibly impressive, and I think I'm gonna read Sigmata. Like, yeah, that sounds really good. Really good.
Thank you.
And do you have connections? Do you have connections? How does this work to start? Do you have connections with publishers? Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to buy books, so maybe you've had some prior connections. I don't know how this works.
Well, that works in terms of, I have connections to my time in publishing, but, not as a bookseller. I worked as a bookseller at Allie Jackson. I was purchasing So basically you have to set up an account publisher
Okay.
to buy books. And you know, a line of credit and something you have to pay in X amount of days, and you know, basically set up a publisher, and that's how you get.
Then
that
you
we
get
have-
the stock first, and then if you make money off or you return the books, they don't sell, or.
Well, the way
How does this work?
the way book publishing works, it's a very odd business. You can buy books from a publisher or a wholesaler, and if they don't sell, you can return them back
Well, there you go.
for full credit, which is basically no risk. And as I point out, yeah, which is why when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he started out as a bookseller.
I know.
So he started out in a business where you had virtually no risk,
Yeah.
and also no tax as well at that time. And it was the internet was burgeoning. So he chose books for specific because you're not going to have a risk. You don't sell them, get your money back. That's it's a strange way of doing things, but it's been like that for.
That's interesting. But, you know.
It started in the Great Depression.
Oh, well, that's your question. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No. Did I finish answering your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to know if you had started or completed you were with that, because investors are definitely gonna ask about that.
I am starting that now. This thing and basically do a trade mechanics. They have it at different times, but I would need to get a grant to do that. So it costs. That's why I want the grant for it. Things along those lines. The great thing about that course is when you include the fact that you've taken it and certified, folks at the SBA look very
Highly about
it. So I want to include that. And
You able to get grants without?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking about the barriers to entry here, and I'm just, just kind of running through it in my head of what stuff might be. But definitely, if we're to take, because courses like that, especially if you're gonna work, it's such a good thing to have. You know, a certificate maybe of completion. Yeah.
No, you're right.
There's a lot more confidence.
Yeah. Well, the grants that I'm looking for right now are development grants. We call pre-revenue development. Those I'm looking for right now. I don't know whether you can get something like that later on. I have to look into it. It seems like most are geared towards nonprofits.
Yeah.
But I think I may have found a nonprofit that partner sponsor me to do this. So I think having there in which I can get some grants. But for right now, I'm trying to find mainly what they call revenue.
Development, that's a great idea.
That will help you.
Well, I would say that make sure the nonprofit is house, because expected quick report.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Something that you are aligned with, so that when you can feel confident. But I'm very excited for you. Okay. I'm excited for all of us, really, because having a bookstore in town would be great. We used to have on 133rd and Lenox. I can't recall the name. 132nd.
It's the same one. That's Liberation.
Right. It wasn't Liberation. Is it a different place?
Yeah, I think they moved at one point in time.
Liberation
and then it moved.
Yeah, then it moved.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Liberation transferred all their stock when they closed to Human.
I remember Human.
Human used to be a 125.
Anyway.
Yeah, Human closed in
125.
They went from 02 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a native of Harlem. I lived in Mount Morris several years. And when I was in Mount Morris,
Yeah, I remember you, ma'am. It's Valentine.
What's that?
Valentine. Then it was
SBA?
Zoe.
I'm sorry, the Small Business Administration.
Oh, okay.
Zoe bookstore.
Yeah.
But that was Christian books. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the bookstores are a value add no matter how you start. You know, they not only, I mean, they're great programs like investing in use in terms of like, you know, having fund buyback and things along those lines. But the great thing about bookstores is they not only address social issues, they move the ball.
Mhm.
You know, they make everything possible. Everything is, you know, they don't say reading is fundamental. Everything is possible. Like, I mean, just as a quick example, when you think about what is probably the most exciting innovation right now in terms of excited about, I guess you would say Sam Altman and OpenAI, and his advances, machine learning and artificial intelligence. You know, they're saying that his company, whenever he launched it, might be the first $1 trillion valuation in history. But the thing about it, if you think about it,
Roll it off the press. Mean anything, no production behind it.
yeah,
We're not producing books or
no, you're not. Yeah, exactly, you're not doing it. You're not doing
it's
everything.
intangible.
But it's something like everyone is excited about and everyone is talking
That's
about
true.
it. It's
That's true.
an innovation that's open AI. AI is it. But if you think about it, if Sam Altman couldn't be, none of this would be possible.
Well, you know something, with all of this AI, eventually we'll just be using icons like it did in the Middle Ages. When you had a shoemaker in a book, or a dentist would have a toothpick. So I think that's why books are so important. You know, they opened a bookstore downtown in 106th Street in Broadway. They just opened it. People do want these things.
Oh no, for sure, they definitely want.
Right, so it is a wonderful idea.
They definitely want those things, and I don't want to talk too long, but there are 827 million books sold in 2002.
Hard copy.
Everything, hard copies, paperbacks, textbooks, everything. That was an increase of 10% over the year before. Now there are more books sold now than there were before the pandemic.
People burned out.
Yes, I think.
Computer.
I think
Zooming.
numbers have reversed.
And when she said hard copy, I also assume that you mean not digital. Or are you including digital books, e-book thing?
I don't think it includes digital. I think it includes just hard covers, soft covers, textbooks. That number was like everything. Physical books.
Put your hand on it. So, but I'm just saying, it's nice to know that a book's looking so side.
Yeah.
That's important. Okay.
70% of the member stores in the American Booksells Association, which is a trade association, report higher sales post-pandemic.
Excellent.
I was telling him that sometimes in the train I'll see young people and it's my generation for gadgets. And I went up to a couple of these kids and I said, I couldn't even see your reading and you're using a hard. The kids would tell me they don't like they don't like it. They want to have a book in their hands. I'm not saying 100%, but most of them I spoke because they don't like this digital. First, if you run out of energy, that absolutely.
Right.
Can't charge it.
Right. But that's good though. That is great that
The Census Bureau, I'm sorry, the Census Bureau, the Census Bureau does a survey of where they survey retail every month. In one survey, I think December 2023, they found that the only age group in which they're noticing increase in eating is
that's great. That is excellent.
They're the group that is not a huge increase, but we're seeing an increase.
That's good.
In reading.
We want to go back to reading the book. Reading is fundamental.
I just want to say one other thing. I have books from my father who's been gone many years now. And I know his hands touched. And that's
I
important.
do. I have all my mom's High school books. I have my mother's high school,
My mom,
like
like,
1959.
what do you?
Right. It's all in my house.
There's some books that, like I said, some are fine, but like these books that you mentioned, I would prefer to have them a physical book. But books that like manuals or like this business book that you're reading, I don't mind having that. That's fine. I'm gonna read a lot of those if I'm starting a business. But those are so magic, yeah. Right. Wonderful. It's nice to meet you. I'm so glad you came because I've been hearing your name. After we're done with the email, to talk about it. So,
Good things, I hope.
You don't have any way to invest right now, but
Okay.
we can try to find if we can hear about anything, we can forward it to you. Okay, especially like how you mentioned the development grants. That there was some kind of cohort, but I haven't heard about it in a while. So I can do a little research in my emails and stuff.
Okay.
They're still doing things, but yes.
Okay. I'll reach out to you.
Do you need to go to the general board meeting and sort of say something there?
You know, I was gonna say, John, you have a website already?
That's
You might
again
want
one
to
of the
start your
things.
website. Why not?
I want to do it right. I mean, that's one of the things I want to get the development grant for. To start a website. I'm not technical. I want to look.
Or even having, if you don't mind me saying, even QR code with your contact information, so that as you're talking to people, you have a business card, you have something to give out, or like I said, just a QR code.
Okay, I can do that.
I will never carry business cards again if I can help it. I will get one of those little metal ones with the QR code and just. Where do you get that? You get it made.
Well, I've seen people have the QR code on their phone.
I would like somebody like my mom does not want to do that, but it's nice and just have contact information because if you're talking about starting a business, but I don't have a way to contact you, it's all for me.
Well, I can give out my address and my email address and number if folks want to. I do that.
Yeah. Why don't you give us your email?
Sure.
Well, I have your email, but it's for the will you put it in the chat? Are you able to?
Yeah.
Okay. JMG #2.
Yeah, sorry. AMG books.
At gmail.com.
I also have a suggestion too, and maybe you've thought about this. Hi, I'm Sharon, by the way. Hi.
Hi.
There is an organization called Bronx Bound Books, and they're, instead of like brick and mortar, they're a traveling bookstore on a bus. And I thought that was like a really brilliant way for just rethinking this, like what a brick and mortar is. And so I'm wondering if maybe also just thinking about that as an option, if that, and not saying that like as a long term, but even as a short term thing, but just thinking through
What a great way.
how other folks are thinking about brick and mortar, other folks who are thinking about bookstores in particular, and how they're thinking about brick and mortar.
It's a traveling bookstore. You said it's a pop-up. Is it a pop-up store?
Traveling bookstore. So their brick and mortar, like their physical space, is a bus.
Okay. It's called Bronx Bound, you said?
Bronx Bound Books.
Okay.
With that, you can show up at like Harlem Week. You can show up at the African Festival on 116th in the summer. Like there's this Thursday it's starting, but it's supposed to rain.
Uptown Night Market.
You can pull up, hypothetically, you will pull up somewhere nearby. And you can, some of these things you may need to have a permit for, sure. If you get any trouble, you just drive away. You don't have to. I'm sorry. You drive away. I'm just saying that's an idea, something to maybe even get started. So maybe to see.
Cameron's laughing.
No, that's really good.
I'll look into that.
Thank you so much for coming and visiting us and telling us. I'm excited now. I'm gonna give you that copy. No. I can get that.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. McGregor?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so next.
If you have any questions, please feel free to email him or put it in the chat. We see if we can come back to it too.
So next we have Kendra
Okay.
from CUNY, ARC Illumination Space that wants to give us some updates.
ARC.
ASRC.
ASRC.
Let's get that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Let me talk. My name's Kendra Kruger. I'm the STEM Education and Outreach Manager at the Advanced Science Research Center. So that's the ASRC. And we're located on the south end of the City College campus. So those two big shiny glass buildings on the south end on like 135th on that south annex by the architecture building that's on that side. So we run a number of different youth community programs, and I wanted to share today we've got an Earth Week program going on April 25th. And I'm just generally, wanted to come out and start to meet people and folks. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today. But we're starting to run more of these community night series where we have kind of an open house to our research center. So it's an opportunity if folks want to come tour the labs. We have different arts and crafts activities and science demonstrations that'll be happening once a month at the research center. Along with our normal programming, we also do like field trips for middle school and high school and college age students as well. So I can drop some links in the chat. We'll also be running some summer programming for different summer camps that want to go on field trips. We have like a little museum space, visitor center, where students can interact and learn about the different research that's happening at the ASRC. Our focus is doing interdisciplinary science, so kind of moving away from this old way of doing science of splitting things into chemistry, physics, and biology, and really seeing the interconnections between the different disciplines of science. And we've got also a neuroscience and mindfulness series going on this spring, where we have different instructors, mindfulness instructors. This month we have Nadira Chestnut, who I can't remember the organization she works with right now, but she's coming to do an ecotherapy. She's Harlem-based, coming to do an ecotherapy workshop with us. And we have neuroscientists that are also part of those conversations to talk about the up and coming research that's showing like what's actually happening in your brain and the benefits of these kind of interventions for mental health. So this month, April, is ecotherapy, and in May, we'll also be doing dance and movement as a form of mindfulness. So yeah, we've gotten lots of things that are constantly happening. Just looking in general to meet more folks working in the education and STEM education sphere in the neighborhood and see what kind of resources we can share. And we've got space that we can use if folks are looking for venue spaces. And also looking ahead to the summer, we're thinking of doing somewhat of a STEAM block party as well, possibly in July. So looking for other partners if folks are interested in doing something like that. We've got a big terrace where we can kind of set up some space. I'm talking to people at BioBus over at Columbia. And also I have some friends and connections with the Children's Art Carnival, and we might do something kind of art and science, so STEAM related for that day. So again, my name's Kendra. Thanks for letting me share a little bit. Hope to meet you all more in person, but I'll drop some more links in the chat, and I can also send over email to the group if you want to distribute more widely. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Oh yeah, I want her to email us. Do you mind putting the email, or you want me to do it usually?
Oh, Kendra's email?
No,
Yeah,
I
can do.
Or I can take her email.
Yeah, we have her. We have her information. Well, yeah, we do have her information.
You both.
She dropped it in. You're dropping it in the chat?
And Lydia has a question.
Okay.
Kendra, hi. I retired from CCNY last year, so what is your relationship to CCNY? That's what I'm not clear of. It's from the high school there, or what?
Yep. So the ASRC we're located on the City College campus, so we're on the South End campus, the South Campus, like over where the towers are, the dorms.
Yeah.
And but we're technically administered by the Graduate Center.
Hmm.
So, the building we're just about to reach and this is useful information too, we're just about to have our 10-year anniversary this year in September. So, the building itself is still fairly new. And when it was first built, it was administered by CUNY Central. And so it was more of like a CUNY-wide resource, and it still serves as like a space for researchers across CUNY to come utilize the instrumentation and laboratory spaces that are there. But now a lot of the faculty and the graduate students that work and spend time in the labs are coming through the Graduate Center. So it's been administratively shifted over. So as you know, like CUNY things are always kind of like being juggled around administratively, but that's the situation as it is now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, how long have you been involved with this program?
I've been working there since 2018. And I met Deirdre, I know, Atasi through Lehman. I gave a talk for some of her students and came to one of the block parties last year in the very rainy day. And I came to a community board meeting like maybe 4 years, but it was probably 2018. It was probably 2018, 2019 before the pandemic, but it was a place that was downstairs. I remember going downstairs somewhere.
I have a question, Kendra. Hi, I'm Sharon. I am just curious, also because I'm in a STEM education space. I'm a professor at NYU, and we do a lot of like STEM work. So just for like clarification, are you looking for, I guess I'm not clear about if there's an ask/partnership, what is that ask or partnership? I guess I'm sorry that I'm not clear about that.
No worries. Yeah, I don't think I was clear about it. I think at this moment I'm mostly here to just kind of meet people and say hi and like share some things that are going on in our space, and if you want to share out those resources, but also want to kind of just be here to listening to see what's going on, and see how we can be of service, and if that kind of like emerges organically. We're always kind of like, trying out new things, and if folks are interested in experimenting with new programming or need spaces, or we've got, things coming up or want to partner on grants and stuff like that, definitely open to those kind of things too.
I'm curious if you're working on any like pipeline programs. And I'm asking that because this year NYU announced that any incoming student whose household is less than $100,000 a year is tuition free. And so, yeah, and so that's such a big deal, especially STEM spaces for obvious reasons. I'm talking to the choir, but I'm just curious about that pipeline.
So right now, I would say most of our primary program is the field trip program, which serves to kind of be an introductory to STEM to a broad audience. So classrooms, mostly it's booked by teachers. They come in to get an introduction to the interdisciplinary research and to the different programs at CUNY. So we do have like a database of deeper dive programs, like multi-touch programs, high school, after school programs that then we try to, disseminate out. Right now, we don't have any structured or funded in-house programs for youth at the moment. We kind of like have a few like satellite programs. We've done some day camps with HEAF. We did last summer. We did like a week-long STEM camp with HEAF. And we'll be doing a few more days as part of their camp this year too with their middle school program. So I'd say we're still fairly new in the space. I was working just as a part-timer for 3 years, and now I've kind of been brought on as a full-time to be more out and about to see what else is going on and how we can develop out more in-depth programming in that way. And then, moving up the pipeline in terms of, we would love to have, after school programs for middle schoolers, for research programs for high school students, summer programs, and then, we're still even working on developing more undergraduate research programs like setup where we could really be placing folks and students in labs and getting that experience with faculty members.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions for Kendra? Kendra, thank you for stopping by. Please, please, please send us updates on these different events. And please include, if you haven't already, I know you mentioned middle and high school, but if it changes for whatever reason, let's say you have an event that's elementary school based, let us know. We want to get that information out to schools and after school programs. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Kendra. So we have Kate.
Sorry, quick question. There's a Tyler.
Is Tyler back from Tyler East? Oh, Tyler's back. Tyler.
Right now, I was just curious.
She's presented before. Wait, hold on. They were having some difficulty. Is she back?
No.
I can't see. Okay. Okay. So Kate from George Bruce.
Good evening. So yeah, you guys probably know George Bruce, right? So hi, I'm Kate. I'm one of the children's librarians at George Bruce, that branch of the New York Public Library that will be reopening on Monday. And I have been fiddling with the flyer, and I'm trying to get it in the chat, but it just does not want to cooperate right now. So I am going to drop my email in.
All right, and our email is in there as well, Kate.
Okay, yes. I know Hakil sent a notice out, I believe last week, but I will do it again. Okay, so yes, MCB, okay. Let me copy that. So yeah, so we will be having our reopening on Monday from 12 to 6. All of us in children's, adults, YA, we will all be doing programming, and you guys can see our spiffy new repainted walls and redone floors. They look really, really good. So that's why we were out of commission for a little bit. It looks good. So we hope that, you and your colleagues and I don't want to use the word constituents. That doesn't seem quite right, but just bring your friends and
residents.
You want to experience the library. So
we're very happy to hear that.
We'll be reopened for non-business. Let's call it that.
Yes. Now, are you fully back, or is it just 5 days a week?
Oh, it'll be 6 days a week. I mean, as far as I know, George Bruce never had Sunday service, but none of any branches, Brooklyn and Queens too, are open on Sundays. So there's a letter writing campaign. So
right.
Yeah,
days a week. The big one, 47.
Was always 24 hours. To midnight. I used to go study there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We saw the capital budget request that we worked on.
Some library funding.
Because so often we work on these capital budget requests and the city writes back and they're like, no, next year, or what have you. So it's really great, especially considering the cuts, that we were able to get something done. You got your HVAC done last season, is that right? Last year?
We need to make sure that our HVAC will be online because we were having issues last year, and now that it's like 70 degrees out today after being like what, 20? No, I'm kidding. But we will have that. I know the branch manager, my boss, Janelle Carter Bowman, she is in discussions about making sure our HVAC is like, let's make sure it's operational.
That's so exciting. And You guys have reached out to the neighboring schools as well as, what's that housing, grant housing?
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's good news.
Welcome to visit you.
Yeah, let me get that flyer. Sorry, since I'm, at home on my own computer, not my work computer. So the balance back and forth can be a little tricky. So yeah, I will just have that get that.
No worries. I was asking if you could tell me what Tyler that is.
Tyler's from Atlantic. Yeah, I texted her. Yeah, Atlantic Theater. I texted her. They were having difficulties. I told her she could present if she served.
I didn't know if they would saw it. That's what I mean.
Yeah. They were still on when I said.
They were okay.
I can tell.
Kate, please give us that information if you can. Okay, all right, no worries. Does anyone have any questions for our librarian who does such amazing work? All right. Thank you so much, Kate.
Okay, so I see Brendan. And Brandon, I don't know, Brandon, do you have any updates? Would you like to share anything with us?
Might be AFK. Oh,
Oh.
There he is. Here's the headphones. Brandon, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself and your organization?
Hi. Hi. So I am from Barnard College. I am from the Community Engagement Office, Community Engagement and Inclusion. So I'm just introducing right now. Next time I can come with more sorry about that, more resources to really show you all what we do. But our premier program is STEAM in the City, where we we it's basically we work with schools in the Upper Manhattan area, and we focus more on STEAM activities, just as a lot of folks here were speaking about tonight, where it's about helping teachers with stress. So in any way, through teaching them different things in our design center, which is one of our resources where teachers can we've worked on vermicomposting bins there, where educators have been able to put together bins and we provide worms for them to teach their students about composting and how they can do that in their own neighborhoods. And various science activities. I run a knitting club on campus where we work with Africana NYC.
Yes.
And we donate winter wear to them that we make every week. So things like that, and then we'll have students from the Young Women's Leadership School come to Barnard, and we work with them on what it's like to use your interests to give back to your community. So kind of different types of initiatives like that. Right now, we actually have a science fair coming up in June 12th. There's a lot of things that we have going on right now, but that's really what we're doing at Barnard right now. And if anyone has any questions, I can put my email in the chat. And next time I will come with a little bit more resources to really show you what we do at Barnard in the Community Engagement Office.
Great. No, we're happy for the introduction.
So welcome, Brandon. That's excellent. That's great. That was a lot of information, a lot of great information.
I think he underestimated it. Brandon, you mentioned that you work with schools in Upper Manhattan. You mentioned that you're helping teachers with stress. Are you also working with students in these schools, or are there after school programs that come to you guys?
Yes. So actually, we have a couple. So I have student workers called SEEDS. They're student educational experience designers. And so they work with educators that are a part of our cohort that so we're actually in recruiting season right now for STEAM in the City teachers. and I can also talk more about that. I can send some information to the MB9 email maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So they work with teachers and like so we have two programs where we're working with West Prep and we're working with we've worked with Boys and Girls Clubhouse. And so we do curriculum. We developed our curriculum to go and work with the teachers and the teachers review it and like it's usually connected to the lessons that they're working on in class. Sometimes we had a computer science workshop where we were talking about like the design and the evolution of computers and how that connects to coding and stuff like that. So that's an after school program. And then we also have like where we have like students who go to they have greenhouses or not greenhouses, but gardening clubs. And we work with them on like seeding activities when they come on campus and stuff like that. And they visit our greenhouse on campus as well. So yeah.
That's
I mean, yeah,
excellent.
absolutely excellent.
Excellent.
The amount of things that you do that's hands-on, when you said STEAM, you know, we're thinking computer science, but you got knitting club, gardening club. I mean, wow,
That's
fantastic.
great.
And are these mostly middle and high school students, or do you indulge in that elementary? Elementary
So
kids, right, but
right now we're focusing more on K-8.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's right. That's good.
So we also like we've been branching out a little bit into high school because the Young Women's Leadership School is I think it's K-12. So like so a lot of the students that we have sometimes if they're interested in a club that's predominantly like more K-8 students, they'll come. Or like if they want a campus visit where they want a tour of Barnard because you know like we want young women to see Barnard as an option, then they come on campus and they'll like they every usually when students come on campus we give them a short tour like
Beautiful.
even a 10 to 15-minute tour just so that they can see what it's like.
That's great. That's
do you
excellent.
have open classes? Like, so hypothetically, I had a mom ask me about STEM for kindergarten and first graders. Is it something that she'll be able to drop in into?
So like if the student is working with one of the programs that we partner with, like we partner with STEM for Dance or Figure Skating Harlem. So sorry, I didn't hear you.
No,
No,
it's
we're-
interesting.
There was an interesting name, STEM for Dance. We were chuckling over that a little bit.
Yeah, so like we partner with Figure Skating Harlem, so they've come on campus for architecture visits in our architecture classes and then done a design challenge with us.
All right. No. Oh, fabulous.
Tell the mayor there's things happening. No.
No, right? Like, you know, this is
This is
fantastic.
great, Brandon.
Our mayor wanted to emphasize all the things that are happening. What are some of the things that oh, well, there's lots of things happening, but this is the I did not know that Barnard had this program. So that's
Yeah, I know.
thank you for visiting. Commissioner, do you have any questions? Thank you so much, Brandon.
So thank you so much.
Email us, keep in touch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Drop your email in the chat if you wish. I've been trying to take them. I see Kate says she emailed the flight. Thank you, Kate. Yeah.
Take your girls.
Right.
Come here, see you. You can the girl, and the girls.
Body started in a bus. They had a school bus. They like decked out, and they had a science lab in there. And they would show up at these different block parties and events. And they had the bus open, and kids would go on, and there would be personnel inside the bus to kind of help them, like, oh, look through this microscope and see, and stuff like that. So yeah, just circling back to the bus idea. Because I mean, even Kendra was talking about having a block party. You could crash that. No, sorry, Kendra.
Oh, no, no, okay, but she came to the thing, yeah, to our community outreach day. It's in- if you look in here, it's in, yeah.
Load up for
Yeah, it's in.
Yeah, no, I'm getting you something. Okay, I'm a rebel rouser. Okay, I like, you know, little what's it? Good trouble.
Good trouble.
Good trouble.
John Lewis, good trouble.
Yep.
Okay.
We want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Not yet, but it is on Apple. It's really long. And I'm adding some other versions. I'm serious. I have a folder of books.
Well, Stigmata got a few things. You have to try to get a few.
That was the way when I jack him for his book. Like,
Back away.
oh my God. All right.
so yes, absolutely. So the next thing on item on our agenda, so there ends our community presentation, part of our meeting. And so next on our agenda is new business.
So I have been here see before, but since our agenda was light, I thought it would be a good time to indulge in this idea. I need help creating a directory. I'm looking at you for a reason, because you are probably going to be one of my best helpers. So as you see, right, we have all the people coming to YL. We don't have a composite list of all these people that we speak to. We have notes that we have to submit. And you guys see the notes for the general board meeting and stuff like that. But as far as if someone comes to us and asks us, oh, do you know if there's any STEM programs? I would have to go through, she will know it by heart because Deirdre's amazing. Me personally, I would have to go through a bunch of emails to try to figure it out. Like, I think I talked to this guy, Brandon. So I'm trying to start an Excel file, right? We talked about, and we talked about this with Ken last year.
Yeah.
And just have very basic, like the program or like the CBO name, contact person or persons, their email, what they serve, like so if they're only in schools, if they're drop-in or if they're both, and we can try to just kind of flesh it out. I can start it, but I would definitely like to use your help. I would share it with everybody on YL, and then we can try to. I always see you taking notes together. That's why I mentioned it to you, because you would be somebody that I know I can rely on to kind of maybe even update it as we are in a meeting. Laptop and things like that. How do you feel, kid?
I also think a great place to start.
So resourceful and very quiet, but very dependable. Oh, that's absolutely. Very unspoken.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, she is.
I think a great place to start too, Tiago, was as I looked at YL directory, I started printing some stuff.
Okay.
And so the WHDC has the grantees all listed out, the ones that visit, and their information and website is right there. So that would be, you can copy that and add that and add to it as we get.
I'm happy to start it. You don't have to feel that pressure if you don't want. But if you want to take it over, you can. But I'm happy to start it and then just
you'll join us about the categories you want.
Well, but it's not just up to me. This is the YL committee, it's up to us. We have to determine what information needs to be shared. Maybe something that I didn't think was important, you all may think it's important.
Right.
I think that in order to be a proper resource to our neighbors, we need to be able to have something to rely on, so that if someone says to you, Ms. Francine, oh, you're a YL, well, do they have programs for 6-year-olds? We say, okay, well, let me go take a look at this spreadsheet and see, and you can filter.
Yeah, right.
Excel.
Right, Excel goes
Access is even better, but it's a story.
Yeah, we can also get resources from council members' office, because I know they have there's a spreadsheet that I have that they list out various resources as well. And so we can always drop that information, collaborate it, and just embed it. Yeah.
And then the next step, but this takes time. So I'm just letting you know my thought process. And the reason I'm letting you all know the thought process is because if somebody wants to say like, okay, well, Shanika's taking too long, I can take this, Sharon, Alyssa, that because they're savvy and they know you all know so much. Yeah. And you say, I want to take this over, that's fine. I want to do newsletter when it's appropriate. So Kendra mentioned that she's gonna have the different events. The newsletter we can send out would have anything coming up for April that we want to share. And you can share with Madison and Ideal, they'll share it with.
You can actually share it on our website. So we can actually share it on the MCYL website. I mean, you can send it out to everyone that visit, but we can always add it to our website. We do.
Yeah, cb9m.org.
And then but go to youth. But if you go to Youth Education and Library, we have a site and those things can be posted on.
look when I was
Yeah.
you're right.
Because that's what Ken, that was the vision that initially that Ken had wanted us to be
Yes.
able to post that as well as send it out to the community at wise.
So there's so many things happening that I
it
want
gets
to make
long
sure
and then you get
it does.
Uptown Birdie.
Well, CB9.
Revamp CB9.
Right. All right, and then old business. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Kendra. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm muting.
It just made me think if you were looking to archive information from past meetings, I don't know if you publish your meetings on YouTube, but I know there's a website that you can search the transcripts for all community board meetings. So if your meetings are on YouTube, then the transcripts have been recorded through this, like New York City, it's called like blockparty.studio, I think is the website, but you would be able to like scan your old transcripts from your meetings to get that information if that were something that was useful to you.
Was it New York City Block Party.studio?
Yeah, I'll put the website in the chat. I think it's blockparty.studio.
I mean, AI is amazing and also scary,
Creepy,
but
right?
I feel like Terminator is like right around the corner. But
Party.studio.
Yeah.
The current version of their website only goes back to the beginning of January 2024 because they're using some new algorithm, but in their archive section, it goes all the way back past years.
Excellent.
Yeah, I found it the other day and I was bored.
Well, our general board meetings.
No, our these meetings still, so yeah.
As long as you press the record.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm not doing that. I'm so sorry. That was a thought in my head.
We had to. And I saw myself at one meeting and I was like, is that what I look like? It's really helpful.
No, I'm not saying that it isn't helpful, but I'm just saying I thought that when we recorded and saved it to our computer, it's linked to our computer in the cloud, not to the world.
No, it goes to the world.
You get stuff.
That work taught me about the City of Yes. And I Googled it, and then I Googled City of Yes CB9, and it took me to their meeting with Signy. And so yeah. I found out I'm surprised.
What that says is that we need to be really mindful and stop recording when we're talking, because then our conversation goes on and it's.
I didn't realize that prior. Thank you, Kendra. And you brought up something else for us to think about as well. So thank you. All right, that's a great idea. Mindful. I'll check it out.
Stop recording.
Now I wanted to mention too so you all know we had a public health forum, and John, I don't know if you know.
Yes.
Community Board 9 has public health forum. YEL helps out. Yeah, it was fantastic. But we weren't able to have the workshops, and that's partly because everything's happening on the first floor, and the workshops were upstairs. And unless we had organized youth organizations specifically come, in other words, like figure skating in Harlem say, we're bringing our girls here, or what have you, it wasn't as easy as I would like it to have happened. So we still want to have some of those workshops. So Tau Mega, Ibrea, and Forward Inclusion are all on board to have, and Emma Goldman Center, all on board to have workshops with us. There is nothing set in stone yet, but I want you all to know what we're working on. So DYCD, which is the Department of Youth and Community something. What's that last D for?
Development?